So, welcome all. Let's continue on what we were discussing these days about what's new in 2021 release wave 2. Today, we'll talk about one other cool feature called refreshed peak experience on related records. So, let's first understand what happens before this feature was released and what will happen after Business Central 19 when this feature is available. This is my Business Central 18 environment, Docker environment. And if I navigate to sales orders, if I have to fetch any additional detail about this customer, I just have to see before I post it. I actually have to click on this, click on open, and then the related record will be opened. That is the default behavior that we have seen for all these years and have existed in the system. Now, this might seem a very small change, but think about a user which have to do it daily throughout the day. And there are some key information about a record which are required to be visible before any next action on that particular document can be processed. So with Business Central 19, Microsoft actually utilized a built-in capability which is already there in the product and extended it to a way so that it can help users to see the information which is important before they can proceed on that transaction. So if you don't know this, on every list page in Business Central, there are different views. Okay, let me see where that is. Yes, lists and tiles. The tile view show you some information in tiles. So let's move on a section where there are images and switch it to tiles view. Tiles have two options, tall and medium tile. Both show the same information, whatever is available there. Now let's switch to Business Central 19. The tile view is still available in Business Central 19 as it was, the tall tiles and the small tiles, and they still show some information about those records. What has been changed is when you go into a record, let's say on the sales order record, instead of a uh, lookup on the fields which have table relation, you see a dotted line which says show more about this particular record. And let me zoom this in if you can't read this. Okay, this says show more about this particular record. And when you click on it, it doesn't open the record, it shows you what's available in the tile view of that record. So that makes it easier to make certain decision in the system without actually navigating to the record. And if you have to navigate to the record, you can again click on this, and in the name section, when you click on it, it navigates you to that particular area in Business Central, whatever that record is. Now there are some rules how this work. Now let me open my development environment and then we will see this. Okay, so I'm on my Business Central 19 connected Docker environment and I'll navigate to the customer table. So each table have a section after keys, which is called as field groups. And then there are two field groups defined. One is drop down and one is called as break. The drop down is a default field group which is used whenever you try to select a record. Whatever the fields that we see is part of the drop down section. And then there is another field group which was earlier also used in the mobile and the tablet client, and I'm pretty sure it's used today, called the break view, which is used to see the where which makes it possible to have the tiles view in the system, and which is also using this uh, feature of showing it on the related record. So if this is not set, then what happens if, let's say, if the field group is of type break is not set? So if the field group of type break is not selected, the system looks look up for a field group of type dropdown. Now, that's used in that case if in any situation you on your custom table, if you don't define any of the field group, then that preview will use the data caption field that is available on that related record. So the first priority is field group of type brick. If you have set it, great. Otherwise, the field group of type dropdown, or otherwise the data caption field as number, or in this case, number and name. So based on these three properties in the system, we are able to see these previews, and you can go to any page. Let's go into, or let's navigate it from here. Let's go into purchase order, and you will see the similar view on the vendors. And that's just available throughout the system. It's not a spatial coding. As I said, you need to remember that you set your field group of type bricks to make it possible for system to understand what information should be visible when somebody is trying to preview that particular record. While you're building your custom tables and pages, make sure tables have field group and it have fields which makes it more relevant to the users who will be using those records. So thank you for today, and I'll see you tomorrow with another new feature in 2021 release wave 2.